Welcome to episode 37 of the Tough Draw Talks podcast. I'm your host, Brad Hughes. Appreciate you being along for the ride. This morning, we are coming to you from Fort Worth, Texas, during the PBR World Finals in 2023. We are down in the historic stockyards at the Brand Room, where, if you're looking for an authentic Western experience and some of the best food you're going to find, you can find it here. When you're deciding on what to wear when you come into the Brand Room, there's no better apparel to have on than merch from the Lane Frost brand store, our presenting sponsor this year for the podcast. We appreciate everything Stetson and the Frost family has done for us here at Tough Draw and all of our ventures, including this podcast. Be sure and visit lanefrost.com for some amazing hats, shirts, and everything Lane Frost. Use our code TDT15 for a discount on your purchase. My guest today is a cowboy from Roy, Utah, currently sitting in the top 25 in the world in the PBR standings. Last year, he finished in the top 10 and has continued to battle through some significant injuries in his young career. I've gotten the chance to know him throughout this week, none other than the Kansas City Outlaws' own Kyler Oliver. Kyler, man, how's it going?
It's going good. How are you today?
Doing good, man. Started off a little bit early, got up, had a little hash browns, came in, so we're ready to rock and roll though, man. I don't know if you've had a chance to listen to the podcast a bunch, but we like to start out with some icebreaker type questions just to shake the jitters out and get you talking a little bit.
All right.
All right, man. What's your favorite food?
Oh man, that's a hard question. After I broke my jaw, it seems like everything just started to smell and taste wonderful. So it used to be pizza was my favorite, and it probably still is. I would say pizza or prime rib.
Yeah. Can't do prime rib right now, though, right?
Just cut it up in small pieces. I'll make do.
make it work.
Yeah.
What's the coolest moment so far in your career, if you can pick out one?
So far, I don't know. There's been a lot of cool moments. This has been my whole life ever since I was a little kid. I've had a lot of cool moments for every stage of my career. But now it's cool to be in the locker room with all these legends, all the coaches on the team. You know what I mean? And all the great bull riders. It's cool to be at this level.
This one's always kind of interesting. Do you have any superstitions or pre-ride rituals or anything that you like to do before you get on?
Yeah, I'm a little bit superstitious. It kind of depends on the day, but don't put your hat on the bed. Obviously, that's a big one for everybody.
Literally everybody says that on the podcast.
I don't know why.
Sure.
I'm not sure what what was behind that, but yeah, you don't put your hat on the bed, and if you do, you got to throw it at the ground as hard as you can and stomp on it to get the bad luck out.
Oh man.
So yeah, don't put your brand new hat on the bed.
And that'll ruin a hat.
Yeah, exactly. That, and don't wear yellow. Don't ride with change in your pocket. I mean, there's a lot of superstitions. Don't eat chicken the day that you ride, because you are what you eat.
Oh,
yeah. You can eat after winter chicken dinner, but
jeez,
yeah. There's a lot of rules.
We're getting a lot of unspoken rules here about just rodeo in general. All right, so this is a big question. If not riding bulls, what would Kyler Oliver be doing?
Riding bucking horses.
Okay.
Something in the rodeo
Okay,
world.
not riding animals.
Okay.
What would Kyler Oliver be doing?
Shoot. Well, what I used to do is frame houses, so I guess just working hard. Something in the cowboy world. I got to be a cowboy, you know what I mean? Stock contractor, whatever it is.
Very cool.
Not in an office though.
Yeah, no, I hear you. All right. I'm a filmmaker, so yeah. I got to ask, what's your favorite movie?
Favorite movie? 8 Seconds is a great one, obviously. Every little bull rider grows up watching that movie. Lonesome Dove's a great movie though. It's hard to say. Pretty much any cowboy movie. Yeah. If I get lucky,
Tombstone.
Oh man, Tombstone. Tombstone's great. Yeah.
It's funny because those are like the three answers that pretty much everybody says.
You know what my
Lonesome Dove.
Favorite cowboy movie is Monty Walsh.
Oh,
that's
Selleck, a good one.
The remake. Yeah, that's my favorite one.
That one's a really good one.
Crossfire Trail. I really like Tom Selleck.
Yeah. Did you ever watch the Sackett movies with Tom Selleck and Sam Elliott and all that? Yeah.
Yep.
All those, that kind of series, the Louis L'Amour movies that got made.
Yep.
I loved those books growing up.
Yeah,
so.
Definitely. Me too.
All right. So this one's always a great way to kind of transition out of these little fast, rapid fire questions. But what's the best compliment you've ever received?
Best compliment? Probably that I got a beautiful smile.
Oh, yeah? I bet that means a lot right now,
with my
too.
missing teeth. Yeah, and all the wires in there. I got a bunch of silver in my teeth. Shoot, best compliment? I guess Just that I'm a good bull rider, you know what I mean? Like, that's obviously something I've worked at my whole life and I want to be a great bull rider. So anytime somebody compliments me on something that I do right in the bull riding world, especially somebody that I respect, you know, that also was really good at riding bulls, it makes me feel good.
Yeah, for sure. So bull riding, or riding in general, definitely sounds like your thing. Tell us a little bit about your background growing up. You know, how did you get into rodeo? Obviously, you said, you know, you love bucking horses, stuff like that. Talk a little bit about your path into the rodeo world.
Well, it started when I was pretty little. I was pretty much raised by my grandparents, so like all my uncles are kind of like my brothers, and they're all the closest one to me is like 12 years older than me, so they were all pretty much like my older brothers and taught me everything I needed to know. And I had an Uncle Shane that was a bull rider, cowboy, bronc rider, you know, can rope, all that stuff. And so every summer I got to go and spend up in the canyon or wherever he was working, whatever ranch he was on, and just cowboy all summer and be around that. So my love for that really grew there. And my grandma was a barrel racer. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, so she got me my first pony when I was like 5, you know, got me into that. And then all my uncles, they strapped me to the sheep, you know. And it kind of just started there when I was about 3 years old, and just kept going. I got my first buckle for sheep riding when I was about 5. You know, I won my first saddle.
Ever since.
Won my first saddle when I was like 7, and that was in Woodruff in the Testicle Festival rodeo. I was 8 years old. Got a saddle that says Testicle Festival Champion. That is my favorite saddle.
Your proudest achievement.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, it started there, just youth rodeo, and Utah had a great youth rodeo association coming up. They had a few of them actually, and so. Like every week we were at a rodeo, and then junior high, high school, all that. My grandparents sacrificed a lot of time and money to take me and travel all over. And mini bull riding was a big deal too when I was coming up. So me and my grandpa, we went everywhere from Oregon, Montana, Idaho, down south Arizona, everywhere. So I was really blessed to have them love rodeo almost as much as me, you know, to be able to take me and be involved all the time.
That's so cool. So thinking about growing up in the Western culture in the community, you know, one of the big things that I love just seeing the stories and hearing people talk about it is kind of this community aspect of it. And it sounds like you got to experience that from the ground level. Yeah. You know, talk a little bit about with rodeo, with Western culture, that community aspect. Like, you were raised by your grandparents, but you also grew up in the community itself. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I feel like a lot of cowboys that I talk to that kind of grew up in this way of life were kind of raised by the community as a whole.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that and just some of kind of what that was like growing up?
Yeah, rodeo is definitely just a big family. You know what I mean? Like, it seems like a lot of the moms out there are just moms to all the kids. You know, it doesn't matter. You know, it just depends on where the group ends up that night. And so it's awesome to grow up with people who are interested in the same things as you know, and involved in rodeo. It also kept me out of a lot of trouble.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
Usually the people I'd hang out with at school or whatever outside of rodeo, I'd always end up getting in trouble, whatever it was, and rodeo kept me out of that, especially because if I did get in trouble, my grandma wouldn't let me go.
Yeah.
So it was
always that incentive.
Yeah, definitely an incentive. She knew she couldn't kick my butt necessarily because it wasn't going to hurt me. I was tough enough. You know, what really hurt was taking the rodeos away. So that kept me on the straight and narrow. And then obviously a lot of really good friends and good people in rodeo that help you live a good life, you know?
Yeah, definitely, man. So that's interesting. So you're a PBR bull rider right now. Mm-hmm. You know, you've mentioned bronc riding. You know, what are your thoughts on the PRCA, and is that something that eventually you may want to look at pursuing, or if you can get healthy enough and want to do bronc riding? Just kind of dive down that rabbit hole a little bit with me.
Yeah, so I grew up riding broncs. They started the saddle bronc steer riding in the junior high when they started it before they did in the junior high and the youth rodeos. And so I kind of got my start there, you know, figure out how to lift on your rein and keep your butt in the saddle. And I grew up riding against Ryder Wright and Stetson Wright and Rusty Wright, and their dad was always there. And then Statler was on his way up, you know, so I had a lot of fierce competition. And
especially up there in Utah.
Yes, definitely. Yep. And yeah, there's a lot of kids that can ride broncs up that way. And so that was good, though, because, I mean, there was a lot of people that knew exactly what they were talking about. They weren't going to teach you something that wasn't right, you know. Yeah. And so I grew up doing that, and then then got to high school, started getting on the saddle bronc courses, and I did really good for a long time until my shoulder just got too bad, and I had to go get it operated on. And when I came back after that, it just wasn't as strong. You know, I could ride bulls, keep my arm down, strapped to the bull, you know, but I just couldn't lift on my rein. And every time I'd get off on the pickup, man, it'd just pop it out. So I decided to just go into bull riding, you know, and just kind of, because, I mean, you still got to make a living, you know what I mean? I
Absolutely.
don't have a whole bunch of money sitting in the bank where I can just take off for a long time. So I was like, well, I'll just go ride bulls for now, make some money, and then keep training my shoulder. Hopefully it'll get better and I can ride broncs again. So I'm hoping here in the next couple of years I can start getting on broncs again. I still got my bronc saddle in the basement sitting there. I bought it from Cody Wright. It's a saddle he won the world in back in 2010.
Heck yeah.
Probably shouldn't be saying that, keeping it on the low. Everybody's going to want to come buy it from me now, but I'm really
not
excited.
For sale. It's not for sale.
It's priceless.
That's cool. So we just talked about community, and obviously the Wright family, you got to see them and got to know them while you were bronc riding. You know, what is it like seeing, you know, a guy that grew up in high school with them, seeing their success, and obviously you're having your own success over in the PBR. How cool is that to sit there and kind of watch that?
That's really awesome. Stetson, he's really took up. We all knew, you know, obviously he was really good at riding bulls and broncs, and he was going to go to the PRCA and really take over the all-around. We all pretty much knew that was going to happen, but it was cool to see us both also. You know, we're in different associations. I'm in the PBR, he's in the PRCA. I kind of imagined growing up that we'd kind of be at the same rodeos, you know?
Yeah.
But we went a little different path. But it's cool to see him, you know, at the top of his game, and I'm obviously starting to make it too. And I have a lot of buddies like Briggs, my cousin, and he's in the PBR now too, Cade. It's just cool to see all those guys that you went to youth rodeos with and, you know, grew up just having fun, going to their house, riding practice. You know, now we're all at the level that we dreamed of and we talked about when we were younger. You know, it's cool to see it happen.
Definitely. So that's really cool. So when you think of rodeo, it's such a community, but at the same time, it's an individualized sport. And so when you know, what is the mentality when you're at a rodeo? You're there with Briggs and with the Wrights and all your buddies and people that you grew up with and stuff like that. But, you know, what's the mentality when you show up to just an event, a one-off event? Like, you know, talk a little bit about that individualism and what it means to the sport of rodeo in your mind.
Well, I mean, when you show up for an individual PBR, I mean, it's all business. It's all on you, right? Like, there's not – I mean, you got buddies. Everybody in the locker room is friends, and we all, you know, bounce ideas off of each other. And if somebody does something and gets bucked off and they come back and ask, you know, what did I do? We're all going to tell them, you know what I mean? But they have to come back looking for that, you know what I mean? You have to have buddies that want you to do better, you know? And on the team deal, the aspect of that is they're there. They all want to do good too, and so you doing good helps them, and so they're just going to come right to you with what you need to know, and you don't even have to really go and ask people about it.
Yeah.
But so with the individual compared to the teams, you know what I mean? You don't necessarily have a whole team behind you. You don't have a coach and a physical trainer and your 4 other guys that are depending on you to do good so they can get their check too. So I mean, it's all just on you know what I mean? It's
just you against the bull.
Yeah, it's you against the bull. It's not you against any of the riders or anything.
You against yourself too.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a big part of it.
Yeah, especially if it's a bull that you've rode before, like me and old Smokestack. I know I can ride him, you know, but it's you against you. You have to make those perfect moves every time. It doesn't matter what you know. It's how you perform.
Yeah.
So
when you got drafted, so it's cool because you talked about one of the best compliments was like when people talk about your riding. Well, you know, what about, take us back, you know, last night we were at the draft. You know, a couple new guys got selected to certain teams, but taking it back to the very first draft, you were a second-round pick by J.W. Hart. What does that mean for a guy like, known as the Iron Man, right? Like, what does that mean to be picked by somebody like him? I mean, obviously, everybody looks at J.W. Hart and they're like, tough. And, you know, he drafted Dalton first, then he drafted you. Obviously, he was trying to carry that into his team, but what did that say to you as such a young guy? Because you were, what, 22 when you got drafted or 21, something like that? What did that mean?
Oh, man, it meant a lot. Obviously, JW is one of the guys I grew up just idolizing, you know what I mean? Being the toughest guy in the sport. Like, it's hard not to like that guy, you know what I mean? And so I knew when he picked me to be on his team, like, not only is it a compliment and, you know, make me feel good, like, you know, I'm tough enough to be here, but it's also, this is where the work starts, you know? He's gonna expect you to, obviously, to ride great and to be tough. You know, it's maybe not as tough as him. I don't know if there's anybody as tough as him, but I can try.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's the mentality. And so when you got drafted to a team, like, you've grown up rodeoing your whole life, you get the whole community aspect of it. What was some of the big changes for you, or things that you kind of had to get used to about the team's format just in general?
Well, we're all on a group chat now, and we have our physical trainer in on that chat, and so he's really keeping up with us, making sure that we're all working out and stretching, and so that's a big difference for me. Nobody's ever really cared if I'm healthy or working out or stretching, you know, that's all on me. And so now that's a big difference, to have other people looking out for your well-being and telling you, like, hey, you need to be stretching. I know you're sore today, whatever, and you don't need to take a day off. You need to go harder. So that's good to have all those people behind you like that.
That's cool. That's cool. So when you look at the dynamics of going from an individualized sport to the team sport, how do you see, because I heard some people talk in the draft last night that were being interviewed that had just gotten picked, that they see this as kind of the future direction of the sport. What is your opinion of that? Like, do you think that is kind of the future direction of the sport? And if so, you know, do you feel like it takes away, being from traditional roots of rodeo and stuff, do you feel like it takes away from it at all, or does it only just enhance because of what bull riding is?
Honestly, I think it enhances it, and I hope that the team deal takes off and becomes the major sport of America, really, and the major bull riding sport. And I came from the original days of just the individual sport of the PBR, and it's awesome. It's hard to take away from that. You know, it's the highest level of bull riding there is, and everybody wants to be at that level if you're a bull rider. But something about these team deals, man, they're just so much more fun, you know, and having a team around you and guys to uplift you and help you. And just outside of the bull riding, too, just having a whole new group of buddies and stuff like that, and then having a coach who's looking out for you, like, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. So we talked about this a little bit, but you've had you finished in the top 10 last year. You're in the top 25 this year. In your mindset and your mentality, what kind of bulls do you like? What are things that fit you well, or is there a fit for you, or is it more of just you can ride anything?
I like to think I can ride anything. You know what I mean? You kind of have to have that mindset when you show up, because if you don't think you can ride all these bulls here and you get the one that you don't want, then you've already lost from the get-go. Like, you have to be winning in your mind before you ever step on that bull. So I believe that I can ride any bull that there is. There's certain ones that I like more. I like them when they fall out of there, going left, right in the latch into my hand, and I can just start spurring on them. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm not as good at spurring away from my hand as some of these guys are, but that's kind of my bread and butter right there.
Yeah.
But I don't mind when they're out there. They're wild, like Legend. Yep. I wouldn't mind getting on that bull, because you don't know what he's going to do, and I'm better when I don't know what I'm going to do. If I have a game plan, like, I might jump over in there a little earlier, or try to hold my position a little bit too long, you know, because I'm trying not to screw up. Whereas if I'm just shooting from the hip and I'm just not planning on anything and just staying in the middle, I ride a lot better that way. So,
it's funny you say that, because you're actually one of those few guys that have actually rode riding solo.
Yeah.
So what do you remember about that ride? I mean, he's a world champion bucking bull. He may be claiming his second world title this year. Yeah. But what do you remember about that ride in particular? And, like, when you get on a rank one like that, like, what's the mentality?
The mentality is, like, it's game time. You know what I mean? Like, getting on all these bulls, it's you have to be in your zone. Sorry about that. You have to be in your zone and be ready to fight. Like, there can't be no hesitation at all. And so when I got on solo, I knew that bull was really going to buck, but I also know that he's smart and he might go the other direction. So I made sure to put my hand as far in the middle as I possibly could without it being too much, you know. And that first time that I rode him, it was actually, technically it was a little too much. My rope slid across his back, and it was just everything I could do to hang on, like, that first time that I rode him. And so the second time I got on, I moved my rope a little bit farther down the side, you know, so it wouldn't slip. And that smart sucker, he felt it, and he went out there and he went like 1 or 2 wraps to the left, and when he went back the other way, it was so fast and it shot ahead so hard, he got me.
Got you.
Yeah, he got me. So there's definitely, like, you got to know, like, where you want to put your rope on the bull depending on his size. You know, them smaller bulls, they don't have much shoulder, and their backs are smaller, so your rope can slide.
Yeah.
So you want to pull your rope back a little farther and pull it as tight as you can so that it don't move. And then you get on a bigger bull and they got big old shoulders and your feet can't get in front of your rope, and it ends up on their shoulder blade or on their shoulder, like on Domino or Alakazam happened to me on both those bulls. Didn't pull my rope back far enough, and my feet sitting right on their shoulder blade, and when they hit, them bulls stretch out real far, so you don't really feel it, and then when they hit the ground and really explode, it just blows your feet right out of there. So you got to have a spot for your feet. And you got to have your rope in the right spot, not too far down to the side in case they go away from your hand. There's a lot that goes into these top-level bulls, especially in the short round and these world champion bulls. There's a whole nother level even to that.
No, that's super interesting. And you bring a unique perspective because you're a bronc rider as well. Mm-hmm. I'm always curious because I know, like, Stetson always dresses them up, makes it look real pretty, stuff like that. Like, does bronc riding and being able to know how to use your feet, does that help?
I believe that it does, for sure. You watch Stetson, that kid can scrape and scratch with his feet just like he is on a bronc, and he can be in the wildest positions and be right back up in the middle. And I can do that to an extent too. But I think that, having to move your feet in the bronc riding and having, like, literally knowing where your feet are the entire ride definitely helps in the bull riding, because I kick myself in the butt a lot. I spur myself right in the pocket all the time, especially with my outside foot. But being able to just throw it back down and not panic, you know what I mean? That helps a lot in the bronc riding.
Definitely. Well, that's really cool. So, you know, big rides. You've had several 90-point rides in your career, young career already. You know, but you've overcome some difficulties as well. You've had some pretty significant injuries. Talk a little bit about the injuries you have had and the mentality. I mean, you're sitting here and your jaw's wired right now. You know, y'all, this J.W. Hart drafted him for a reason. He's got wiring on his jaw right now. We went to dinner the other night. Like, he's a trooper, and, you know, he's dealing with basically a busted jaw. So, and still doing this podcast. So, talk a little bit about the injuries you have had and kind of how you overcome those, especially to go from where you were and then have the year you did last year in particular.
Yeah. So the last year when it started out, that was like the healthiest I'd ever been at the start of a season, probably ever since I was like 12 years old, depending on wherever I'm at. Like, I've always had to deal with injuries. My shoulder, I broke my elbow and dislocated my shoulder the first time when I was like 12 years old on a mini bull. And, you know, got my elbow fixed and my shoulder, they just kind of said it is what it is. It'll heal, you know. They didn't think it was very bad. But ever since then, like, it consistently would start to pop out. Not when I would ride, luckily, but, like, when I jump off or, like, anything like that, or even just trying to reach and grab something the wrong way. So my shoulder has been bad ever since I was little. And I finally got that fixed and then come in to the PBR, and then it wasn't fixed enough. You know, it was good enough to probably just do regular life activities, but not to ride bulls, which, you know, you're not really designed to do anyways. So had to deal with that, and then I come back, got my shoulder fixed again. Tandy did it, and it was fixed it right that time. So I went to physical therapy for a solid 9 months, like just training hard every single day, and, you know, that was really hard, and some dark times, you know, not being able to do what you love really sucks. And then also not having both your arms, so I can't do my normal stuff that I want to do. Like, everything was just harder. Yeah. So it was definitely rough, but then just, you know, keeping your mind focused on where you want to be and knowing that if you work hard enough, you can get there. You know, these injuries aren't forever. You can work through it. So I just kept working hard, and, you know, I finally got to where I was healthy starting the season out, and I thought, man, this is going to be awesome, and won New York and was sitting first in the world for a few weeks, and everything was going good. You know, I got bumped down to second or third, I think, when I broke my neck, but I was still, you know, within a few points of the top, so it was still going good, and then broke my neck, and it was just another setback, you know, and that really sucked. Just not even being able to do anything. I went from having one arm to basically not being able to use both my arms because of my neck. I couldn't lift anything over like 20 pounds. Had to wear a neck brace for like 3 months, sleep in it, everything. So That was probably worse than my shoulder, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I thought that I'd hit rock bottom before with my shoulder and been in, one of the worst places of my life, darkest moments, and then get out of that, see the light again, everything's good, and then get hurt again, and it's like, God, right back to square one, you know what I mean? And it's really hard to just keep having to start from square one, go back to just being sore all the time, and having to get on practice bulls again that are just easy, you know what I mean? And
kind of retraining all over again.
Retrain everything. It's like I've had to do that over and over again the past few years. So it's been really tough and really hard to handle sometimes, but just staying focused on my goals, being a world champion and being in the PBR, and just staying focused on that really helps. And watching bull riding and training at home, just keeping my mind like I'm still going,
Yeah. No, what in those moments, like when you do have to hit the reset button, and you've had to do it several times, whether it was your shoulder, your neck, what goes through your mind? Like what are the things? What do you learn about yourself in those moments? Because, I would think that a lot of guys, I mean, it obviously has to go back to your toughness too, but it's like, what is your mentality, and what do you learn in those moments? What have you learned that help you today?
Yeah, it's a lot of mental toughness for sure. Physical toughness is one thing, and you got to be physically tough to ride bulls, but most of these guys are. That's why they're still here, and they didn't give up after the first time they got hurt. It's the mental toughness that's actually really hard, and something that you have to learn and also work on all the time. Because, I can be mentally tough, and I can get in my zone, and I can not worry about whatever bull it is, big, scary, best bull in the world, probably going to jerk you down, try to rip your face off. Yeah, but being mentally tough is, when you do get hurt and you have to go home and you have to figure out what you're going to do for the next 6 months because you can't go ride bulls, you still need to make a check, you still got a family and all these bills. That's being mentally tough, is being able to push through those times and not let it break you down. And I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm the king of it. It breaks me down sometimes, and it sucks, and it's hard to push through. But you got to remember, you're going to get hurt in this sport. Everybody's going to go through it, and you got to be like I said, you got to be mentally tough, and you got to be mentally tough for your family too, just to be a good man. So, bull riding teaches you a lot about life and about how to handle yourself, patience, and, just how to handle high stress situations.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. And, I have a lot of admiration for what you've been able to overcome, and, to like you were saying, you were first, second, third, somewhere in there in the world. You get hurt, you come back, you have a top 10 finish, and you're still, you're clawing your way back into it. Mm-hmm. And that's awesome. So you alluded to World Championship earlier, but, what are some of your goals and your plans and what you want to achieve, whether it be individually, in the teams, anything? What are some of your goals?
Everybody's goal, I think, obviously, is to be a world champion bull rider. Some people might just want to win one world championship and be done with it. I want to win as many as I can. Yeah. I don't necessarily want to put a cap on it, put a number on it, because maybe I can win more than even I think. Yeah. I want to be a world champion bull rider at least one time, hopefully more than that. And then team series, I would love to win the world in the team series with my team. I think that'd be cool. Being MVP of the season for the teams, that would be awesome. And I just expect a lot out of myself. I want to do the best that I know I can do, and that's winning. That's being number one. And
absolutely,
I want to go to the NFR hopefully and ride Bronx bulls in the NFR. There's a lot of things I want to check off my list for sure.
Definitely. Well, I look forward to witnessing all of that, man. We actually got a pretty good number of fan submitted questions, so let's go ahead and dive into those. Yeah, so the first one is from Jace Guzman, and he says, thoughts on high school rodeo? We established you did it, so what were your thoughts rodeoing up in Utah in high school?
I got to be kind of careful right here, because high school rodeo, I definitely think, like, if you're starting out, like, towards the high school age, that's definitely a route that you want to go, is high school rodeos and junior high and stuff like that. If you are already good enough to ride, though, and can go to open rodeo, especially for a bull rider. I'm more talking for a bull rider here. If you're good enough to be able to go to open rodeos and ride at open rodeos and win those. You know what I mean? I don't see high school rodeos that beneficial.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Just because they cost a lot of money, and you got to go every weekend. There's a lot of people, a lot of cutthroat people coming for your kid that want their kid to do better.
Yeah.
And then I just think that if you're a bull rider, you should be going to open rodeos and stuff, and then be going to velocity tours and touring pro divisions, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But if you're starting out and you're 15 years old, you've never been on a bull before, and then you decide, like, this is it, this is what I want to do, then yeah, go to high school rodeos, continue getting better. You know what I mean? High school rodeo is definitely a stepping stone.
Yeah.
And if you can win consistently at high school rodeos, and then you can go to open rodeos and win there, you're
probably good.
You're good. Yeah, you made it. You know what I mean? High school rodeo, I kind of have some hard feelings towards them, just because they are so expensive, and it's just so political. You know what I mean? It's so political.
Yeah. And it probably varies state to state too. I mean,
I'm sure.
You know, depending on different associations and the support and the levels of things, So that's definitely something to consider as well. Jace actually sent in a second question, and he must be from Utah, because he said, "What do you think of Broken Heart Rodeo Co. and other local Utah stock?"
I definitely think up in Utah we have some good stock for guys that want to ride bulls for a living. You know what I mean? It's a good place to start out and learn. And there's a lot of hard bulls to ride there. It ain't like just going and getting on some easy 18-point bull every time, which they have some of those, what you need to have if you're learning how to ride bulls. But that's where I learned how to ride, was Broken Heart, Mascaros, all those associations in Utah and surrounding states, but mostly right there in Utah, there are PRA associations. So obviously, their bulls are good enough to teach you to be able to get to the PBR, you know what I mean? And yeah, they're good associations. I like going to them. I go to them when I'm back at home and practice. So he's got good bulls. If you want to be a bull rider, that's where you should be going.
Definitely. So Claire asks, what is your favorite rodeo to go to?
Oh, man, that's a hard one.
I guess this could be anything. You could say a PRCA rodeo that you've been to, or even just a PBR event that stands out.
Yeah. PBR World Finals is pretty cool, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm still going to a lot of places for the first time, seeing a lot of new things. New Orleans was cool. Nashville. Fort Worth is obviously cool.
Yeah. What about as a kid? Do you remember going to did you ever go to the dinosaur roundup and all that? And Vernal and all that?
Yeah, I'd been there in Ogden Pioneer Days. Actually, they used to do junior bull riding with the Ogden Pioneer Days, and so I rode in that one year. And
very cool.
J.W. Harris was one of the judges.
There you go.
Yeah, that was awesome for me. I thought that was way cool. So, yeah, there's a lot of really cool rodeos I went to growing up that I can kind of speak on a little more now, just because I've done it all there. Yeah. I'm still kind of learning here at this level, but. Shoot, I went to so many cool places, Oregon, Montana, you know what I mean? Just all the rodeos up in the Pacific Northwest are just so pretty in the summertime.
Oh, yeah.
It's just way
Have you been to Cheyenne Frontier Days?
I've been to Cheyenne just for the PBR, though.
Okay.
I haven't been to the actual rodeo there. I've stopped through there, been to the museum and all that. That place is way cool, too.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what is the best advice you can give to a 17-year-old getting into bull riding? This is from Luis Perez.
So for a 17-year-old, like I said, find, especially if you're from the area where I'm at in Utah, those guys, Broken Heart Rodeo Association, Broken Heart Rodeo, Mascaros, all them guys around there, they have good bulls to start out on. And, I mean, just find a practice pen, start getting on practice. Don't worry about entering rodeos until, you can consistently ride your practice bulls. Yeah. And then 17, you kind of almost graduated from high school, but you could probably get in to start going to some high school rodeos for at least a year. And then the open circuits, the RMPRA Association, start going to those, just practice a lot, ride your stationary barrel, ride a bucking machine, just get your basics right.
Definitely. What has been your favorite city to visit while you've been riding?
Shoot. That's a hard one.
This is from Kylie Oliver.
Oh, that's my cousin. There you go. Yeah, that's my cousin's wife. Shoot, probably Fort Worth, just because it's so cowboy around here, and everybody's real involved with rodeo, and it's it's a big thing around here.
And you get to do the podcast with us.
Yeah, and I get to come do podcasts with you guys. It's great. Yeah, I'm excited.
So Dean asks, what is the process that you go through in your mind when you buck off one you know you should have rode?
Well, instantly, like, usually by the time I hit the ground, I know what I did wrong. You know what I mean? I'm already thinking about, like, where did I mess up? And if I don't know immediately, then I go back to the locker room and I sit there and I kind of think about it. Or I'll ask somebody what they think, because usually there's a TV in the locker room, so all the guys back there are still watching. So I'll ask them, or I'll go and watch my video from that ride and see what it is that I did wrong and just start fixing it in my head, you know, and just go back through that ride where it is that I messed up, fix it, and finish the ride until the buzzer. Get off on my feet.
Definitely. Yeah, no. And it just kind of resets you.
Yeah.
Get you ready for the
next
next
because,
time.
I mean, you can't do nothing about the past, you know what I mean? You can be mad about it. There's nothing wrong with being mad, but I don't necessarily think you need to throw a temper tantrum every time you fall off. I get mad every once in a while. I'll throw something, but it's after falling off 6 in a row that I should have rode all of them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're going to fall off. It's going to happen. Shit's not going to go your way every time.
Yep.
But if you can figure out what it is that you did wrong and then immediately fix it in your head, and then also go and get on a stationary barrel or a bucking barrel, whatever, and literally fix it. And that's just what I do, kind of.
Yeah. All right, so the last fan question, and this is interesting because we just talked about solo and stuff like that too, but what is your favorite ride in your career so far?
Favorite ride in my career? Probably smokestack or riding solo, one of those two. Smokestack was obviously the highest score I've ever gotten, so that could technically be my best ride, if you want to say. But there's a lot of other rides that I had to put out a lot of effort on and didn't quite get that high of a score, and so they kind of are equally as memorable to me. Riding solo for one, just because my rope slid across his back, and that's kind of wasn't in the spot I necessarily wanted to be, but I just, you know, it was one of those rides where you dig deep down inside and you pull out that extra effort is what I'm trying to say. And that, to me, when you do that and afterwards and you get rewarded for it, that feels so much better to me than just being tapped off from the moment that I nod and riding a bull dead easy and landing on my feet. Like, yeah, that feels good. But when you really have to try hard and you get it done, that's the moments that you really cherish, because there's so many moments where you're trying your ass off and then you hit the dirt and 7-9, you don't get nothing for it other than sore. You know, so when you do bear down and barely get that score, there's nothing better than that.
Heck yeah.
I don't think.
Heck yeah. Well, that's a great way to wrap this up. But man, I've really enjoyed having you on. Is there anything else you'd like to say to your fans, in particular of Kyler Oliver, or just the fan of the sport in general?
Yeah, definitely. I want to say thank you to everybody that's a fan of PBR, bull riding, and me individually. It means a lot to me. I've worked really hard to get here, and this is what I've always dreamed of doing. And having people support me, it makes me feel really good. And having fans send stuff to me, you know, even I'll just sending letters and whatnot, or comments or whatever it is. It makes me feel pretty good, and I like interacting with my fans.
Heck yeah, man. Thank you again for making the time and coming to be here during the craziness of the PBR World Finals. And again, thank you all for listening, and for the Lane Frost brand for sponsoring these podcasts for 2023. Without that support, we couldn't do what we love doing here with guys like Kyler. Make sure and go to lanefrost.com for merch and all things Lane Frost, along with all of their social platforms. Remember, use the code TDT15 to save 15% on your orders. And also, again, we were filming from the brand room down in the stockyards today. We apologize for some of the noise and interruptions, but thank you so much to Don Stubbs for giving us a place to set up and do these throughout the World Finals. Kyler, what are your social handles, and where can people follow along with you on social media?
I'm on Instagram at Rodeo Outlaw, Facebook too. I don't get on Facebook as often as I used to, but I'm also on Facebook, just Kyler Oliver, and started a TikTok recently. It's also under Rodeo Outlaw.
Are you doing dances, viral dances yet?
I don't even know how to work the app yet, let alone how to dance.
Well,
So.
we'll figure that out.
All right.
And also, we do have a TikTok as well, so follow along with us on social media at Tough Draw and at Tough Draw Talks for more episodes of the podcast as we continue to bring y'all closer to the rodeo community. Until next time, everyone.